Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing the final video for the Batman cosplay that I've been working on. I'm doing pants and some simple spats. I did not do the chaps because I'm not on a motorcycle, and I'm assuming he only wears those whenever he's on the motorcycle. I don't really know what the spats or boot covers or whatever you want to call it looks like without the chaps, because the only photos I've been able to get of him in the gray pants that have the thigh padding and the knee padding and all that is pretty much from the knee up, and those were leaked images recently from them filming, I believe, in Liverpool. I'm not sure what week in October, but recently. And I'm so glad that I put this on till last because I got a good photo. Before that, I just had artist renditions and some added details, some lost some, but it was more simple, at least by what I could see in the photos, than what the artists were doing, thankfully. And it looked better than just having some motorcycle chaps. I think that looks, fine when you're on a motorcycle, but, the completed costumes that are being sold are just that. Okay, I've got all my patterns here, which you can find on the Facebook page to download, print, scale, alter, do whatever you want with. The ones I uploaded are for the right leg, and you'll need to just reverse the pattern for the left. 2 number 1s, 2 number 2s, 2 number 3s, 2 4s, 2 5s. And the first thing I'm going to do is use contact cement to bond these together. And how contact cement works is, if you're not familiar, you brush it on both surfaces to be bonded, allow it to sit for 15 minutes, perhaps longer if you live in a humid environment. I live in a desert climate, so it does set and cure relatively quickly. And once that's done, and your 15 minutes has passed, all you have to do is press the two sides together, try and get them lined up as evenly as possible. Okay, now that I have my V-cuts all put together, I'm going to start gluing these together, starting with attaching the 4 and the 5s, and the 2 to the 1, and the 3 to the 1 on each of these, using the same method of contact cementing, allowing it to cure, and then joining them together. Alright, after gluing them together, I used my heat gun to help round them out. Next, I'm going to need to add in my velcro. Okay, I've cut out 6 pieces of scrap leather, the width of my industrial strength Velcro. And I'm going to put straps glued into here where I did all of my sanding to rough up the areas where I glue the straps, and my Velcro on the other half that's sticking out, and the rest of it on the opposite side. Alright, I plastic them up, but now I'm going to set them off to the side as I'm going to move on to the thighs and the knee. Okay, so we just got hit with a pretty crazy winter storm, and it's about 10 degrees, and my camera keeps malfunctioning, or it fogs up. So I'm going to try to get this done as quickly as possible. Because I can't film it and time-lapse it and show it to you, I'm just going to have to explain what I'm doing. So I have the thigh patterns, which are labeled 1, 2, and 3. And I have a pair of pants that I've chosen to use for this. Once I get my patterns cut out of 5mm foam, I heat them and put a curve in them so they'll match up better to my leg. Then I trace around on cloth about a ½ inch or so around it. That way I can glue it to it. And how I glue this to it is I apply contact cement to the foam, and I let that sit for about 10 minutes. When that gets to about 10 minutes, I take and I spray my fabric on the back side with Loctite spray adhesive. Let that sit, and then I glue the two together. Now you'll notice this fabric is not the same color as my pants, so I had to dye these with Duplicolor vinyl and fabric specialty coating. The easiest way to having to try to match colors, or sorry, to be able to avoid matching colors, is just buy 2 pairs of pants. I just happen to have these, so I couldn't just find the exact same pair, but I would have just bought 2 pairs of these and then cut them up and use them as needed to get my end result. And you'll notice I didn't glue them very smoothly. I left a lot of wrinkles in it because that's how it looks in the leaked production photos from the Batman. And these photos actually came from London, since they're filming in London this week. But how it's going to match up is these are going to start right around the groin area and go up and around the sides of the pants. To do this, I'm actually going to contact cement them in place just in the center, and then I'm going to stitch through the foam and the fabric into the actual pants themselves, if that makes sense. And a quick tip I will give, you may see little thumbtacks here. Whenever I put the cloth on to spray it, I use a thumbtack on each end to hold it in place, because the power of the jet stream of adhesive coming out of this will just blow your cloth off into space, and you don't want that. Okay, I have stuck these on with the spray adhesive on here and the contact cement on this, but after that I have to put contact cement around the edges and on the edges of this cloth. Otherwise there's literally nothing for it to stick to. So I really do not want that coming undone. So yes, this is a pretty crucial part of this whole process that I didn't even think to mention in the last write-up, but I did catch it in time, so I don't have to put some goofy message on screen or something like that for all of you. I know nobody likes that. Or do an addendum video, or remake the video. Any one of those things is not very pleasant. Okay, I have the thigh pads sewn on, and like I say, I put some contact cement just in the center, and as I was wearing the pants, figured out where they would go, put the contact cement, let it dry, put the pants back on, and then stuck them in place. But I didn't put a lot of contact cement. These barely stuck on long enough for me to get them sewed. And part of the thing is I didn't want my pants soaked with contact cement. Granted, I have a full body jumper I'm going to wear underneath this, but that's not the point. I just don't want a bunch of contact cement on pants or anything like that. It's going to be directly up against me. So I went very light on that. It just held them in place long enough that they were lined up so that I could sew them all where I need them. And next I'm going to move on to making the knee pads. Okay, I have the knee pattern. I'm doing this in my 5/16 foam, but you could do 5mm or 8 or 10 or ½ inch or whatever you want depending upon your body size. But I'm going to put contact cement and glue all these V-cuts together. However, before I do that, you may notice that I've heated and just bent these tabs a bit. It'll make it a lot easier to glue if you have them all pre-bent. Okay, I got the knee pads on. I did the same thing I did with these by drawing out a larger piece of fabric than what I needed, using contact cement on the foam and spray adhesive on the fabric, and then gluing them on and then stitching them in through the back. So they're on. And the boots are done, and I guess the only thing left for me to do is to find a shirt and put all this stuff on so everybody can see how it looks. Okay, so that's going to pretty much wrap it up. Hopefully you enjoyed how the costume turned out. Considering that I did it on a budget of next to nothing, I think it turned out pretty good. But you can leave your feelings in the comments below. I was wearing a mask because that's what I have to wear on trick-or-treat night, and that also helps me avoid, say, shaving my beard and keeping my wife happy that I have a beard. So that's an added bonus. I may go back and do other things for this project, such as the cape, which I would like to redo. The cape itself, my wife made, and it wasn't a simple build for her, and she's very experienced with sewing and needlework and things like that, whereas I have no experience, and it took a while for us to get this done. We also broke a lot of upholstery needles since it's made out of upholstery pleather, so it was a pretty tough build, and it was tough to finish. Sewing these pants, I think I mentioned in the video, took 8 hours because I had to punch through foam blindly. And if it wasn't, and it's not perfect stitching, it's not even good straight stitching, but as straight as I got it, sometimes I would have to poke and repoke that needle like 3-4 times to get it roughly where I wanted it, so that was not a fun thing. I can't suggest using a sewing machine either unless you have something industrial with an industrial like upholstery needle, because that's just a lot of stuff to try and force onto a sewing machine. But I don't know, maybe you can. I've seen people sew EVA foam together, so perhaps it would work, but I wasn't going to risk my wife's sewing machine. Definitely not. If you would happen to use a sewing machine to do that, I would like to hear the results. And also curious as to what type of make and model you would have. But there are a few details that I still have to work out, like the undershirt was just a gray shirt that I had lying around. I didn't actually specifically pick it for this. I just ran out of time. I'm going to try to figure out something to wear with it. And there's also like 3 cables that are running on that undershirt that are going from the bicep down into underneath the gauntlet. So that's something else I'm going to add on both of them. I don't really know what they are. I imagine a lot of this stuff will be explained, or you'll be able to piece it together. I'll do some kind of exposition dump in the film or something. I don't know. But hopefully you enjoy these videos, and hopefully you like how this turned out, and it gave you some ideas for your own cosplay projects or otherwise. Hope everybody is staying safe. Enjoy the holidays. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.